Genesis chapter 31. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying bad things about him. They said, "Jacob took everything our father had and became rich from it." Jacob also saw that Laban was not friendly to him anymore. Then God said to Jacob, "Go back to your homeland and to your relatives. I will be with you." So Jacob called Rachel and Leah to come meet him in the field where his animals were. He said, "I see that your father is not kind to me like he was before. But God, the God of my father, has been with me. You both know that I have worked very hard for your father. But he cheated me and changed my pay 10 times. Still, God did not let him hurt me. When your father said you can have the speckled animals, then all the animals had speckled babies. And when he said, you can have the striped animals, then all the babies were striped. God took the animals away from your father and gave them to me. One time, during the mating season, I had a dream. I saw that the male goats were striped, spotted, and speckled. Then an angel from God spoke to me in the dream and said, "Jacob." And I answered, "Yes." The angel said, "Look, all the male goats are striped, spotted, and speckled. I made this happen because I saw what Laban did to you. I am the same God who met you at Bethel. You poured oil on a stone there and made a promise to me. Now get ready and go back to your homeland." Rachel and Leah replied, "There is nothing left for us from our father's house. He treats us like strangers. He sold us, and he spent all the money he got for us. All the wealth God took from our father belongs to us and our children. Do what God told you to do." So Jacob got ready to return to his father in Canaan. He put his wives and children on camels. He took all his animals and everything he had gotten in Mesopotamia. While Laban was busy shearing his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household idols. Jacob left without telling Laban. He took all he owned and crossed the Euphrates River. He traveled toward the hill country of Gilead. 3 days later, someone told Laban that Jacob had run away. Laban took some men and chased after Jacob for 7 days. He caught up with Jacob in the hill country of Gilead. That night, God came to Laban in a dream and said, "Be careful. Do not say anything bad or good to Jacob." Jacob had set up camp on a mountain. Laban and his men also set up camp in the same area. Laban said to Jacob, "Why did you trick me and take my daughters like they were stolen? Why did you leave without telling me? If you had told me, I would have sent you off with music and dancing. You didn't even let me kiss my daughters and grandchildren goodbye. That was a bad thing to do. I have the power to hurt you, but last night God told me not to say anything bad to you. I understand you wanted to go home, but why did you steal my household gods?" Jacob replied, "I left secretly because I was afraid you might take your daughters away from me. But if you find anyone here who has your gods, that person will die. Look through our things and take what is yours." Jacob did not know that Rachel had taken the gods. Laban searched Jacob's tent. Then he searched Leah's tent and the tents of the 2 servant women. But he did not find the gods. Then he went into Rachel's tent. Rachel had hidden the gods in her camel's saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched everywhere in the tent, but could not find them. Rachel said, "Please don't be angry, father. I cannot stand up because I am having my period." So Laban did not find his household gods. Then Jacob got angry and said, "What did I do wrong? Why are you chasing me like a criminal? You have searched all my things. Did you find anything that belongs to you? Put it out here where everyone can see, and let them decide who is right. I have lived with you for 20 years. Your animals never had problems having babies, and I never ate your rams. If an animal was killed by wild beasts, I paid for it myself. I didn't bring it to you to prove I was not to blame. You made me pay for anything stolen, day or night. Many times I was too hot in the day and too cold at night. I could not sleep. I worked like this for 20 years. I worked 14 years for your daughters and 6 years for your animals. You changed my pay 10 times. If God, the God of my father Abraham and Isaac, had not been with me, you would have sent me away with nothing. But God saw my hard work and how I was treated. Last night he made a decision. Laban answered, "These women are my daughters. Their children are mine. These animals are mine. Everything you see belongs to me. But I can't take my daughters or their children away from you now. Let's make a promise to each other. We will use a pile of stones as a sign of our promise." So Jacob took a stone and set it up. He told his men to gather more stones and make a pile. Then they ate a meal beside the pile. Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, and Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, "This pile of stones will remind us of the promise we made." That's why it was named Galeed. Laban also said, "May the Lord watch us when we are apart." That place was also called Mizpah. Laban said, "If you hurt my daughters or marry other women, remember that God is watching. These stones are here to remind us of our promise. I will not pass this pile to hurt you, and you must not pass it to hurt me. God, the God of Abraham and Nahor, will judge between us." Then Jacob made a promise in the name of the God his father Isaac worshipped. He offered a sacrifice on the mountain. He invited his men to eat, and they stayed the night on the mountain. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his daughters and grandchildren goodbye. Then he went back home. Genesis chapter 32. As Jacob was traveling, some angels came to meet him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." So he named the place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead to his brother Esau, who lived in the land of Edom. He told them what to say. "I, Jacob, your humble servant, bring a message to my master Esau. I have been staying with Laban and have just now returned. I have many animals, cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats, and I also have servants. I am sending this message to you, hoping you will be kind to me." When the messengers came back, they told Jacob, "We went to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you with 400 men." Jacob became very afraid and worried. He divided the people with him into 2 groups. He also separated his sheep, goats, cattle, and camels into 2 groups. He thought, if Esau attacks one group, the other group might escape. Then Jacob prayed, "God of my grandfather Abraham and my father Isaac, please hear me. You told me to return to my land and family, and you would make things go well for me. I do not deserve all the love and help you have given me. When I crossed the Jordan River before, I had only a walking stick. Now I have come back with 2 whole groups of people and animals. Please save me from my brother Esau. I am afraid he is coming to attack us and might kill us all, even the women and children. Remember, you promised to be good to me and give me many descendants, more than anyone could count, like the sand on the seashore." That night, Jacob picked out a gift for Esau from his animals. He chose 200 female goats and 20 males, 200 female sheep and 20 males, 30 camels with their babies, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 males. He put them in groups and gave each group to one of his servants. He told the servants, "Go ahead of me and leave space between each group." He told the first servant, "When Esau meets you and asks, 'Who is your master? Where are you going? Whose animals are these?' you should say, 'They belong to your servant Jacob. He is sending them as a gift to his master Esau. Jacob is coming behind us.'" He gave the same instructions to the second servant, the third, and to all the others with the animals. He told them, "Say the same thing to Esau when you meet him. You must also say, 'Your servant Jacob is right behind us.'" Jacob was thinking, "Maybe these gifts will help Esau forgive me. When I see him, maybe he won't be angry anymore." He sent the gifts ahead of him and stayed in camp for the night. That same night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 concubines, and his 11 children across the Jabbok River. After he sent them across, he also sent everything he owned, but Jacob stayed behind, alone. Then a man came and wrestled with him until just before sunrise. When the man saw that he could not win, he touched Jacob's hip, and it got hurt and went out of joint. The man said, "Let me go, it is almost morning." Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked, "What is your name?" Jacob replied, "Jacob." The man said, "Your name will not be Jacob anymore. You have wrestled with God and with people, and you have won. Your new name will be Israel." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But the man said, "Why do you want to know my name?" Then he blessed Jacob. Jacob said, "I have seen God face to face, and I am still alive." So he named the place Peniel. As the sun rose and Jacob left Peniel, he was limping because of his hip. Even today, the people of Israel do not eat the muscle on the hip joint. That is because Jacob was hurt in that muscle during the wrestling match. Genesis chapter 33. Jacob saw Esau coming with 400 men. So he divided his children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 servant women. He put the servant women and their children in front. Then came Leah and her children. Rachel and Joseph were at the very back. Jacob walked ahead of them all. As he came closer to Esau, he bowed down to the ground 7 times. But Esau ran to meet Jacob. He hugged him, kissed him, and they both cried. Esau looked around and saw the women and children. He asked, "Who are these people with you?" Jacob said, "These are the children God has kindly given me." Then the servant women and their children came forward and bowed down. Next came Leah and her children, and they bowed down. Then Joseph and Rachel came last, and they also bowed down. Esau asked, "What about the group I met earlier?" "What was that for?" Jacob said, "It was to show you respect and kindness." Esau said, "I already have plenty, my brother." "Keep what you have." But Jacob said, "Please, if you care about me, accept my gift. Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God because you welcomed me kindly. Please take the gift I brought you. God has blessed me and given me everything I need." Jacob kept asking until Esau accepted the gift. Then Esau said, "Let's get ready and go." "I'll go ahead of you." Jacob said, "The children are too young, and I have animals with little ones. If we go too fast, even for one day, the animals might die. Please go ahead, and I will follow slowly. I'll travel as fast as the children and animals can go. I will meet you in Adam." Esau said, "Then let me leave some of my men with you." Jacob replied, "That's not needed. It's enough that you are kind to me." So Esau went back to Edom that day. Jacob went to a place called Succoth. There he built a house for himself. He also made shelters for his animals. That's why the place was called Succoth. When Jacob came back from Mesopotamia, he arrived safely at the city of Shechem in Canaan. He set up his camp in a field near the city. He bought that piece of land from the family of Hamor, Shechem's father. He paid them 100 pieces of silver. Jacob built an altar there. He named it El, the God of Israel. Genesis chapter 34. One day, Dinah, the daughter of Jacob and Leah, went to visit some women who lived in the land of Canaan. Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, was the leader of that area, and he saw Dinah. He took her and hurt her badly by forcing her. But Shechem thought Dinah was very beautiful, and fell in love with her. He tried to make her like him. He told his father, "Please get Dinah for me to marry." Jacob found out that his daughter had been treated badly, but he didn't do anything right away because his sons were out working in the fields. Shechem's father, Hamor, went to talk to Jacob. At the same time, Jacob's sons came back from the fields. When they heard what happened, they were very shocked and very angry. They were upset that Shechem had done such a terrible thing and brought shame to their family. Hamor said to Jacob, "My son Shechem loves your daughter. Please let him marry her. Let's make a deal so our families can marry each other. You can live here with us, move around freely, trade, and own land." Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Please let me marry her, and I'll give you anything you want. Ask for any gift or bride price, no matter how big, and I will give it to you if you let me marry her." Because Shechem had brought shame to Dinah, Jacob's sons answered Shechem and Hamor with a trick. They said, "We can't let our sister marry a man who is not circumcised. That would be wrong for us. We can only agree if you become like us and circumcise all your men. Then we can marry each other, live together, and become one people. But if you don't agree to be circumcised, we will take our sister and leave." Hamor and Shechem thought this offer was fair. Shechem didn't waste any time and did what they asked, because he loved Dinah. He was the most important man in his family. Hamor and Shechem went to the town gate to talk to the other people. They said, "These men are our friends. Let them live here and move around freely. There is plenty of land for all of us. Let's marry each other's daughters. But they will only live with us if all our men are circumcised like they are. Won't all their animals and belongings become ours? Let's agree so they can live here." All the people in the town agreed with Hamor and Shechem, and all the men were circumcised. 3 days later, when all the men were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords. They went into the town quietly and killed all the men. They also killed Hamor and his son Shechem. Then they took Dinah out of Shechem's house and left. After that, Jacob's other sons came and took everything from the town to punish them for what happened to their sister. They took the sheep, cattle, donkeys, and everything in the fields. They took all the valuable things, the women and children, and everything in the houses. Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have caused me a lot of trouble. Now the people around us will hate us. There are not many of us. If they join together and fight us, we could all be killed." But they replied, "Should we let our sister be treated like that, as if she meant nothing?" Genesis chapter 35. God said to Jacob, "Go to Bethel right away and live there. Build an altar there for me, the God who appeared to you when you were running away from your brother Esau." So Jacob told his family and everyone with him, "Get rid of all the foreign gods you have. Make yourselves clean and put on fresh clothes. We are going to Bethel, and I will build an altar to the God who helped me when I was in trouble. He has been with me everywhere I have gone." So they gave Jacob all their foreign gods and the earrings they were wearing. Jacob buried them under the oak tree near Shechem. When Jacob and his sons left, the people in the nearby towns became very afraid. No one came after them. Jacob and everyone with him arrived at Luz, which is now called Bethel, in the land of Canaan. He built an altar there and named the place after the God of Bethel. This was because God showed himself to Jacob there when he was running away from his brother. Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried under an oak tree south of Bethel. That place was called Oak of Weeping. When Jacob came back from Mesopotamia, God appeared to him again and blessed him. God said, "Your name is Jacob, but from now on you will be called Israel." So God named him Israel. God said, "I am Almighty God. have many children. Nations will come from you, and you will be the ancestor of kings. I will give you the land I gave to Abraham and Isaac. I will also give it to your children after you." Then God left Jacob. Jacob set up a special stone at the place where God spoke to him. He poured wine and olive oil on it to make it holy. He named that place Bethel. Jacob and his family left Bethel. While they were still far from Ephrath, Rachel went into labor and had a very hard time. As the pain got worse, the midwife said, "Don't be afraid, Rachel. You are having another son." But Rachel was dying, and as she took her last breath, she named the baby Benoni. But Jacob called him Benjamin. Rachel died and was buried beside the road to Ephrath, which is now called Bethlehem. Jacob set up a stone over her grave, and it is still there today. Then Jacob moved on and set up his camp past the Tower of Ader. While Jacob was living there, his son Reuben slept with Bilhah, one of Jacob's concubines. Jacob found out and was very upset. Jacob had 12 sons. Leah's sons were Reuben, his oldest, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Rachel's sons were Joseph and Benjamin. Bilhah, Rachel's servant, had Dan and Naphtali. Zilpah, Leah's servant, had Gad and Asher. These sons were born in Mesopotamia. Jacob went to visit his father Isaac at Mamre near Hebron. This was where Abraham and Isaac had lived. Isaac lived to be 180 years old. He died at a good old age. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Genesis chapter 36. These are the children and family of Esau, who is also called Edom. Esau married women from the land of Canaan. One wife was Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Another wife was Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, who was the son of Zibeon the Hivite. Esau also married Basemath, the daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. Adah had a son named Eliphaz. Basemath had a son named Reuel. Oholibamah had 3 sons, Jush, Jalam, and Korah. All of these sons were born to Esau in the land of Canaan. Later, Esau took his wives, sons, daughters, and all the people in his household. He also took all his animals and everything he owned in Canaan. He moved away to a different land, far from his brother Jacob. He did this because the land they lived in could not support both of them. They had too many animals and things to live close together. So Esau went to live in the hill country of Edom. These are more of Esau's descendants, who became the Edomites. Esau's wife Adah had a son named Eliphaz. Eliphaz had 5 sons, Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Eliphaz also had another son named Amalek. His mother was Timnah. Esau's wife Basemath had a son named Reuel. Reuel had 4 sons, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. Esau's wife Oholibamah had 3 sons, Jush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the family groups that came from Esau. Eliphaz, Esau's first son, was the father of these tribes. Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Getam, and Amalek. These tribes came from Esau's wife Adah. Reuel, Esau's son, was the father of these tribes, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These tribes came from Esau's wife Basemath. The tribes of Jush, Jalam, and Korah came from Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anna. All these tribes were the descendants of Esau. Before the Edomites lived there, the land belonged to the people called the Horites. They had tribes that came from a man named Seir. Seir's children were Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. Lotan was the father of the Hori and Heman tribes. Lotan also had a sister named Timnah. Shobal was the father of the Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam tribes. Zibeon had 2 sons named Aya and Anna. This is the same Anna who found hot springs in the desert while caring for his father's donkeys. Anah had a son named Dishon. Dishon was the father of the Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran tribes. Anah also had a daughter named Oholibamah. Ezer was the father of the Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan tribes. Dishan was the father of the Uz and Aran tribes. These were the Horite tribes who lived in Edom: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. Before Israel had any kings, these kings ruled in Edom, one after another. Bela, the son of Beor, ruled as the city of Dinhaba. Jobab, the son of Zerah, ruled in the city of Bozrah. Husham ruled in the land of Teman. Hadad, the son of Bedad, ruled in the city of Avith. He won a battle against the Midianites in Moab. Samlah ruled in the city of Masrekah. Shaul ruled in the city of Rehoboth, near a river. Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, became king next. Then Hadad ruled in the city of Pau. Hadad's wife was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred and granddaughter of Mezahab. Esau was the ancestor of the following Edomite tribes: Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Pinon, Kenaz, Teman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. Each tribe lived in its own area, named after the tribe. Genesis chapter 37. Jacob stayed in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived. This is the story of Jacob's family. Joseph was 17 years old and helped take care of the sheep and goats with his brothers. His brothers were the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, who were Jacob's concubines. Joseph told his father bad things about what his brothers were doing. Jacob loved Joseph more than all his other sons. He loved him so much because Joseph was born when Jacob was very old. Jacob made a special robe with long sleeves for Joseph. When Joseph's brothers saw their father loved him the most, they became very jealous. They hated Joseph and wouldn't even speak to him kindly. One day, Joseph had a dream and told his brothers about it. They hated him even more after hearing the dream. He said, "Listen to the dream I had. We were tying up bundles of wheat in the field, and my bundle stood up straight. Your bundles came around mine and bowed down to it." His brothers said, "Do you think you will be king over us and rule us?" They hated him even more because of his dreams and what he said. Then Joseph had another dream and told his brothers again. He said, "I had another dream where the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to me." Joseph also told his father about this dream. His father scolded him and said, "What kind of dream is that? Do you think your mother, your brothers, and I will bow down to you?" Joseph's brothers were very jealous, but his father kept thinking about the dream. One day Joseph's brothers went to Shechem to take care of the flock. Jacob said to Joseph, "Go to Shechem and see how your brothers and the flock are doing." Joseph said, "I'm ready." Jacob told him, "Go and check on your brothers and the flock, then come back and tell me how they are." So Joseph left from the Hebron Valley and went to Shechem. While Joseph was wandering around in the fields, a man saw him. The man asked, "What are you looking for?" Joseph said, "I'm looking for my brothers who are taking care of the flock. Do you know where they are?" The man said, "They have left. I heard them say they were going to Dothan." So Joseph went to Dothan and found his brothers there. When they saw him coming from far away, they made a plan to kill him. They said, "Here comes that dreamer. Let's kill him and throw him into a dry well. We can say a wild animal killed him. Then we'll see what happens to his dreams." Reuben heard them and wanted to save Joseph. He said, "Let's not kill him. Just throw him into this well in the desert, but don't hurt him." Reuben planned to rescue Joseph later and take him back to their father. When Joseph arrived, his brothers grabbed him. They took off his special robe with long sleeves. Then they threw him into the dry well. While they were eating, they saw a group of Ishmaelites traveling to Egypt. The Ishmaelites' camels were carrying spices and perfumes. Judah said, "What will we get by killing our brother and hiding it? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites instead. We won't hurt him, because he's our own brother." The brothers agreed to this plan. When some Midianite traders passed by, the brothers pulled Joseph out of the well. They sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. The Ishmaelites took Joseph to Egypt. Later, Reuben came back to the well and saw that Joseph was gone. He tore his clothes in sadness. He went back to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone. What am I going to do?" Then they killed a goat and dipped Joseph's robe in the blood. They took the robe to their father and said, "We found this. Is it your son's robe?" Jacob recognized it and said, "Yes, it's Joseph's robe. A wild animal must have killed him. My son Joseph has been torn to pieces." Jacob tore his clothes in sorrow and wore sackcloth. He mourned for Joseph for a long time. All his children tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. He said, "I will mourn for my son until I die." So Jacob continued to be very sad for Joseph. Meanwhile, in Egypt, the Midianites sold Joseph to a man named Potiphar. Potiphar was one of the king's officers and the captain of the palace guard. Genesis chapter 38. About that time, Judah left his brothers and went to stay with a man named Hira from the town of Adullam. While he was there, Judah met a young woman from Canaan whose father was named Shua. Judah married her. She gave birth to a son, and Judah named him Er. Later she had another son and named him Onan. Then she had a third son and named him Shelah. Judah was in a place called Achzib when Shelah was born. Judah found a wife named Tamar for his first son, But did bad things that made God angry, so God let him die. Then Judah told Er's brother Onan, "Marry Tamar and have children with her, so your brother's family can continue." But Onan knew the children wouldn't really be his. So when he was with Tamar, he made sure she wouldn't get pregnant. This made God angry too, and God let Onan die as well. Then Judah said to Tamar, "Go live in your father's house and wait until my youngest son Shelah grows up." But he said this because he was afraid Shelah might die too, just like his brothers. So Tamar went back to her father's home. After a while, Judah's wife died. When his time of sadness was over, Judah and his friend Hira went to a town called Timnah to have his sheep sheared. Someone told Tamar, "Your father-in-law Judah is going to Timnah to shear his sheep." So Tamar took off her widow's clothes and put on a veil to cover her face. She sat down at the entrance to a place called Enaim, on the road to Timnah. She knew that Shelah was now grown up, but Judah had not let her marry him. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute because her face was covered. He went over to her and asked, "How much do you charge?" He didn't know it was Tamar, his daughter-in-law. Tamar asked, "What will you give me?" Judah said, "I will send you a young goat from my flock." Tamar replied, "Then leave something with me as a promise until you send the goat." Judah asked, "What should I give you?" She said, "Give me your seal, the cord that goes with it, and your walking stick." So Judah gave them to her. Then he slept with her, and she became pregnant. Tamar went back home, took off her veil, and wore her widow's clothes again. Later, Judah sent his friend Hira to give the woman the goat and get back the things he had left with her. But Hira couldn't find her. He asked the men in that town, "Where is the prostitute who was sitting by the road?" They said, "There has never been a prostitute here." Hira went back to Judah and said, "I couldn't find her." The men there said no such woman had been there. Judah said, "Let her keep the things. We tried to pay her, but we couldn't find her. Let's not talk about it so no one laughs at us." About 3 months later, someone told Judah, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar is acting like a prostitute, and now she's pregnant." Judah said, "Take her out and burn her to death." As they were taking her out, Tamar sent a message to Judah. "I am pregnant by the man who owns these things. Look closely at this seal, cord, and walking stick." Judah recognized them and said, "She is more right than I am. I didn't give her to my son Shelah like I promised." Judah never slept with her again. When it was time for Tamar to have her baby, she found out she was having twins. During the birth, one baby put out his hand. The nurse tied a red string around his wrist and said, "This one came out first." But the baby pulled his hand back, and his brother was born first instead. The nurse said, "You broke your way out." So they named him Perez. Then the other baby with the red string on his wrist was born. He was named Zerah. Genesis chapter 39. The Ishmaelites took Joseph to Egypt. They sold him to a man named Potiphar. Potiphar was an important officer of the king of Egypt. He was the captain of the palace guard. God was with Joseph and helped him do well. Joseph lived in Potiphar's house. Potiphar noticed that God was helping Joseph succeed in everything. Potiphar liked Joseph and made him his personal helper. He put Joseph in charge of his whole house and everything he owned. Because of Joseph, God blessed Potiphar's house and his fields. Potiphar trusted Joseph with everything. The only thing Potiphar thought about was the food he ate. Joseph was strong and handsome. After some time, Potiphar's wife started to like Joseph. She asked him to sleep with her. But Joseph said no. He said, "My master trusts me with everything in the house because I am here. He has given me charge over everything he owns. He has not kept anything from me, except you. How could I do such a bad thing and sin against God?" Even though she asked him every day, Joseph always said no. One day Joseph went into the house to do his work. No other servants were in the house at that time. Potiphar's wife grabbed his robe and said, "Come to bed with me." But Joseph ran away and left his robe in her hand. When she saw he had run away without his robe, she called the other servants. She said, "Look at this. That Hebrew man my husband brought here tried to hurt me. He came into my room to attack me, but I screamed loudly. When he heard me scream, he ran outside and left his robe with me." She kept Joseph's robe until Potiphar came home. Then she told him the same story. She said, "That Hebrew slave you brought here came into my room and tried to hurt me. But when I screamed, he ran away and left his robe beside me." Potiphar was very angry. He had Joseph arrested and put in prison. This was the prison where the king's prisoners were kept. Joseph stayed there. But God was still with Joseph. God blessed him, and the jailer liked him. The jailer put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners. Joseph was responsible for everything that happened in the prison. The jailer did not worry about anything Joseph was in charge of. God was with Joseph and made him succeed in everything he did. Genesis chapter 40. Sometime later, the king of Egypt's wine steward and his chief baker made the king very upset. The king got angry with both of them. He put them in prison under the care of the captain of the guard. They were kept in the same prison where Joseph was staying. They stayed in prison for a long time. The captain of the guard put Joseph in charge of helping them. One night, both the wine steward and the baker had dreams. Each dream was different and had its own meaning. The next morning, Joseph saw that they looked sad. He asked them, "Why do you look so worried today?" They said, "We both had dreams, but there is no one here to tell us what they mean." Joseph said, "Only God can explain dreams. Tell me what you dreamed." The wine steward told his dream to Joseph. He said, "In my dream, I saw a grapevine in front of me. The vine had 3 branches. As soon as the leaves came out, flowers bloomed and grapes grew. I was holding the king's cup, so I took the grapes and squeezed them into the cup. Then I gave the cup to the king." Joseph said, "This is what your dream means. The 3 branches stand for 3 days. In 3 days, the king will let you out of prison. He will forgive you and give you your job back. You will hand the king his cup again, just like before." Joseph added, "But when things go well for you, please remember me. Be kind and speak to the king about me. Help me get out of this prison. I was taken from my home in the land of the Hebrews. Even here in Egypt, I have done nothing wrong to be put in prison." When the chief baker saw that the dream had a good meaning, he told his dream to Joseph too. He said, "In my dream, I was carrying 3 baskets of bread on my head. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for the king, but birds were eating the food from the basket." Joseph said, "This is what your dream means. The 3 baskets stand for 3 days. In 3 days, the king will take you out of prison, but he will have your head cut off. Then your body will be hung on a pole, and birds will eat your flesh." 3 days later, it was the king's birthday. He gave a big feast for all his officials. He brought out the wine steward and the chief baker from prison. He gave the wine steward his job back, just like Joseph had said. But he had the chief baker killed, just as Joseph said would happen. But the wine steward forgot all about Joseph. He did not remember to help him.